All right, welcome everybody to the latest edition of the Burgundy Brigade podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Goff at BRG Brigade Kevin, joined again by Aaron Music at Avalangelist on the Twitter and Callie Agnew at Callie Avs Agnew on the Twitter. How we all doing, everybody?
Better than the last time we were doing this.
Yeah.
You're much happier.
A lot happier. I mean, we can just dive right into this. I mean, clearly the Avalanche are podcast listeners. This is the only possible solution. After the Avs had that dreadful loss to the Anaheim Ducks, pretty much everybody had them as done, toast, kaput,
We were lowering the casket into the dirt.
Yeah, I mean, God, the name of the podcast last time around was Coffin Closing.
Yeah, we were all holding the dirt in our hand, ready to throw it.
We were ready to toss it on there, and the Avalanche would not have that. They heard how sad everybody was and upset, and decided they could not let this stand. And they were 6 points out with about 11 games left, and clawed and crawled and just earned their way into the playoffs. The Avalanche are going to the playoffs in back-to-back seasons.
Feels so good.
It's the first time in over a decade? Didn't we say that last time?
When was the last time that it must have been?
It's the first time in the salary cap era.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. So what? 04, 05 to 05. Well,
Yep, 0506 was the lockout.
0506 was the lockout.
304 and
304 to
0405.
0405. Man.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. Woof. Well, hey. There it is. The Avalanche earned, what was it, 18 of the possible final 20 points.
Didn't think it was possible.
I mean, that was...
Philip Grubauer just stopped being human for the last 10 games.
Yeah, he went ridiculous. It was well documented Grubauer's struggle and Varley's struggle, for that matter, in the middle of the season. Both of them being under 900 save percentage goalies for a long stretch of time, and then where did this start? I mean, from about February 12th on, here are Grubauer's save percentage numbers. I won't count that one because that was a relief appearance. Shutout versus Nashville. .913 in a loss to Anaheim. He got it. He was that must have been another replacement one at Dallas. Then he had another shutout against Buffalo. Then .938 versus Carolina. Another shutout against New Jersey. .973 Minnesota. .978 Dallas. .935 Chicago. .952 Chicago. .919 Vegas. .955 Arizona. .926 St. Louis, and .944 Winnipeg. Whoa, talk about waking up.
Yeah.
It's a big turnaround.
Pretty good progression to his usual mean.
Yeah. I mean, what was he? I mean, he was drinking decaf, I guess, the rest of the season, the early portion of the season. But wait a minute. This coffee's crap. I need the good stuff.
Makes you wonder if he's like a second half of the season kind of goalie.
I mean, yeah, he did it last year with Washington as well.
Yeah, he took the job from Holtby.
But hopefully, this is. I don't think he'll be the .95 variety, but
Sure.
.926. I feel like that's a good number for him to stay at and be around.
That'll certainly win you a decent amount of games.
I mean, mean, think about if the Avs get this goaltending from in January and December. They're
challenging for the division.
That's exactly right, because the division was weak this year.
That was another interesting part. It wasn't just the division, the West.
Yeah.
The West has just been nowhere near this good this year.
They've all been doing it at the exact same moments where they all fell off at the same time, and then they all started going, oh, wait a second, at the same time. So it's like you couldn't gain any ground.
Too. The fight for the Central Division was not quite intense, but it was tight.
Yeah.
All the way to
It's
the end.
like dumb.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's been a really interesting time. Obviously, Nashville is they're aging, but their talent is so deep they're not going anywhere anytime soon.
Unfortunately.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Winnipeg is a really, really good team that is pretty young itself as well, but man, they had some fluctuations this year. They went through some serious stretches where they'd struggled.
They struggle under the weight of their own aspirations.
That's deep.
Let that sink in for a moment.
Well, anytime you expect anything at Winnipeg, they seem to shy away.
Well, yeah, that's always. I mean, last year was their first year that they really actually made any type of a splash in the playoffs.
But they have such a deep team, so I don't see a whole lot of gaps that I could really honestly see them being the Western Conference representative for the Cup.
Makes you wonder what they're missing.
I think they just need to go get hot, put it together.
I mean, this is going to be one of those years to do it because there's the wonder about what's going to go on with Trouba, right? Mm-hmm. Dustin Byfuglien's not exactly a young fellow.
No.
A few of their core guys are on the wrong side of 30. But I mean, of course, they've still got some pretty impressive young players in Line A and Scheifele and Kyle O'Connor. Some pretty excellent players that are going on there.
So I have to say, Scheifele probably still has the 16 of Zadorov tattooed on his forehead.
Yeah. What is it about Winnipeg that makes Zadorov just go, I'm going to kill somebody tonight?
It's not just
he finally
Winnipeg.
gets to
It's
look people in the
specifically
eyes.
Scheifele. I watched the game. I was at the game, the finale, and every time Zadorov was hitting someone, it looked like it was 55. It was hilarious.
Man. So let's going back into the division. St. Louis, what a weird season for them. For a while, it looked like St. Louis was going to be the competition for Ottawa to be last in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly, I mean, someone named Binnington decided to put the entire team on his shoulders. And
yeah, just a quick note. Does anyone feel that Binnington's first name should be Chester? Like, he should be named Chester Binnington III.
And that that under his mask he should have a monocle.
And a twirly mustache.
Yes, that was the exact next thing I was going to say.
Well, we have a mask designed for him now.
Yeah, seriously. Seriously, you're welcome, St. Louis.
Can we put a top hat on the top?
Yes, 100%.
Put it on the outside of the helmet.
Yeah. An attachment.
And suddenly his stick looks like a cane, and he's a Monopoly guy.
Hey.
Figured it out.
Thanks for the free parking. Dallas is another one that had a very interesting season. They were hot out of the gate. Then they had the weird slide. Their owner started talking shit about the team, and then they started to figure some stuff out. And they've been They got hot again at the end of the year, and they've won a lot in a row too. I wouldn't want to be playing Dallas this first round.
I have them upsetting Nashville.
I could see it. I could see it. Whatever I've been kind of out of the loop the last 3-4 days. Whatever ended up happening with Ben Bishop?
Nothing that I know of.
Well, because he left a game at one point, and then it looked like he might have been hurt. I don't know if he did. There was nothing serious with that.
No, he played the last couple of games.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go. Easy peasy. Yeah, this last weekend was a trip for my theater kids. Big conference down in the state capitol, which was a lot of fun. So I've been out of it a bit. Then the Avs, of course, are trending in the right direction. Another weird season, out hot, wow, crappy in the middle, and then finishing in the right way. Chicago did the opposite, where they started awful, got hot, looked like they were going to make a run into the playoffs, and then pooped out. And
Thank goodness.
You know how nice this is to look at this and see the Minnesota Wild at the bottom of the division.
Yeah, I love seeing Minnesota Wild and Patrick Kane watching the playoffs.
That's so nice. And then the Minnesota Wild.
Do you know how fun it was to say we eliminated both of them in the same day?
That was great.
Oh.
And then Arizona the next day.
That whole
the day before.
That little stretch, like that specific day when the Avs beat Edmonton, and then Arizona lost to LA. That was one of the better hockey days that the Avalanche have had in a very long time.
We finally had something turn our way.
Yeah, we've talked about it for so long that the Avs, even in there were in some of those years where they were just so close but not making the playoffs, where they were playing well for stretches, but nobody gave them any help at all. And this year it was the opposite. When the Avs were going through their little shitstorm, lots of other teams started losing. So they somehow, after like having 6 wins in 20-some-odd games, they still were never really out of it.
Which is just ridiculous.
A lot of good fortune for the Avs this season. A lot of good fortune. And Minnesota is Minnesota. Suckers.
Enjoy those contracts there.
Yeah. But, yeah, exactly. On the plus side, they will have Zach Parise and Ryan Suter until 2024-25.
God.
And Devin Dubnyk is under contract for another 3 more seasons there.
They're so thirsty, and yet they don't have a cup.
Man.
Probably won't for a while.
Parched. Yeah, just so parched.
Damn shame.
Couldn't happen to a nicer group of guys. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're fans. They've just suffered through the worst things, and they've come out of it. They're so, so nice.
100%.
It's like Oilers fans.
So some fun things with the Avs this year. Oh, God, Oilers fans. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I do feel a little bad for them at some point here. How many times have they been through this nonsense?
How many first-round draft picks have they just, killed off?
Yeah, well, I mean, they did manage to get Adam Larson for Taylor Hall.
Ooh, good.
Panned out so well.
Maybe they will get someone. What's that?
They drafted Nail Yakupov.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, he's panned out real well, too.
I mean, honestly, the only difference between the Avs and Edmonton is that the Avs have 1 fourth-round draft pick that's worked out, and the Avs have hit on all of their top 10 picks.
Yeah, Joe's maybe a little bit up in the air for now, but yes, I will. By and large,
he's still an NHL player.
He is still an NHL player.
Legally.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Well, he wasn't top 10.
There's the one.
He wasn't top 10. He was, 23rd or something? Yeah, Connor Bleakley. That was not a good one.
Yeah.
No, he's playing for the Rampage now.
Yep. Especially when Boston took David Pasternak, right after him.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's like looking at the 06 draft. I don't know if you guys have done that at all. I did it the other day. Claude Giroux was drafted 25th or something ridiculous. We drafted Chris Stewart.
I still will never forgive St. Louis for coming up and stealing Tarasenko from us.
Bad people. Bad people. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's all good.
It's in the past. It's in the
past. And we're, we're moving forward. We're moving forward, and we're in the playoffs. We're in the playoffs. This is good stuff.
We're both moving forward into the playoffs and to the draft lottery.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So, I mean, there's some great stuff that happened with the Avs this year. Great stuff. Nathan MacKinnon hits the 40-goal plateau.
Mm-hmm.
Just misses the 100-point plateau. But still.
He really tried for it.
I know. They really went out of their way. Man, they tried.
Third period, every opportunity, every chance was just...
Man, they certainly gave it their best. They certainly gave it their best. But 41 goals, 99 points for MacKinnon, both career highs. Mikko Rantanen, 31 goals. He, of course, missed the last 8 games of the season. 87 points, another excellent year from him.
Coming back for the playoffs.
But should be getting right back for the playoffs. That will be huge.
He looked good at practice today. He was taking a couple bumps from guys.
Yeah.
Real solid.
Oh, I mean, Gabe Landeskog, of course, another excellent year from him. Hits the 30-goal mark, 34 goals, 75 points for Landy.
He's probably the MVP of the season.
Yeah, I mean, and what? The 34 goals and like 22 of them were third-period goals?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
How many of them are game winners, too?
Let's see. Landy has 9 game winners this year.
No big deal.
No big deal. It's all good.
It's fine.
He had some good stat padding. I don't know how that ranks as far as the team is concerned with game winners, but I mean that's I can see. Look at my side. That's tops on the team.
Who's followed him?
Mac has 6. Rantanen has 4. Then JT Compher has 3. Jost has 3. Barry has 2. Soderberg has 2. Colin Wilson has 2. Kerfoot has
about
1.
The last month for Barry, though?
Oh, man.
Good Lord.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I mean, they're probably still going to trade him, but they're going to get a lot.
Man, I don't now I'm looking at that. I'm going, man, how do you trade this guy?
Right.
And
Imagine Barry, Gerard, Makar.
That's
a scoring defenseman per pair.
That's scariness. And 2 of the 3 of them are pretty damn good defensively. And then, there's Barry.
Put him with Ian Cole. He's the best defenseman.
Yeah, no, I mean on
Zadorov.
I would put him with Zadorov. They have been at their best when it's those 2.
Yeah, I guess.
Just they've developed a really nice chemistry.
I think going into next year, you got to be looking at EJ and Gerard, Zad and Barry, and Cole, and Makar.
I mean, that's pretty solid considering who you cut out of the picture.
Yeah.
What if Montreal offers Jonathan Drouin for Barry?
I mean, that's really tempting, but at the same time, I think you only go that route if you aren't able to land some bigger name in free agency. And I do think the Avs. I mean, that's one of the big things that I was sitting there going that I was really hoping the Avs would make the playoffs for, is that 1 year you make the playoffs 1 year, okay, fine, whatever. Maybe you miss it. If you miss it the next year, though, that's just kind of maybe it's a flash in the pan. People don't really take you seriously. You make it 2 years in a row. That's a pattern. That's a pattern. You're building for something. Now you are a playoff team. You are a playoff team, and guys that now want to go places that are building to be winners, they have to start thinking about you now. They have to start thinking about you now, because it's not just that. Oh well, you'll get us back there again. It's like no, now you're going to take us to the next step. If they get in here and they manage to beat Calgary, which I think they can. Depends. We'll get to that point. We'll get to that part. I mean, what does that do for the free agent market? Suddenly, maybe Artemi Panarin doesn't need to go to the East Coast. Maybe Jeff Skinner goes, oh, maybe it would be fun to go back and play with Landy some more.
Or we can sell Panarin on some oceanfront property in Colorado.
Yeah. That ocean not so big. That's Lake Powell. It's okay, whatever.
But look at the beautiful mountain
That's
by
right.
ocean.
I did not know mountains and ocean were together.
You sound a little vampire-y there.
Blah, blah, blah. But then, you land one of those guys. Now, maybe trading Tyson Barrie isn't as necessary. Because now you've got that secondary scoring that you were that second line scoring that you were going to go for trading Tyson Barrie. So now you not only get that, now you keep his production. I mean,
there's a minor issue that you have to think about, though. That's the expansion draft.
Yeah, but
would mean
offer up Kerf.
I mean, you would protect 4 defensemen, McKinnon, Landeskog, Rantanen, and that leaves you one more.
JT.
If you go that route, I mean, I still think the Avs probably do the 7-3-1.
Well, who's the defenseman you don't protect then? You keep in mind you have to protect Eric Johnson.
Right. So it's EJ's 1, Barry's 2. I'd say you probably protect Girard, and then you work a deal with them to take someone else.
Kerf.
Say, take a second round. Here's the second round pick. You take Kerfoot to go with it.
Boom.
Well, and a lot of this has to do with what happens tomorrow.
Yes, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed. I mean, it's so hard. Tyson Barrie was so dynamic. I'm sorry, I just can't get over it. I can't. It's like, because the Barrie lovers were out in force too, because they were going, oh no, now how everyone talking about trading this guy. It's about, and you know what? They absolutely should be. And from New Jersey's game on, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 goals.
Yeah, that's impressive.
From 60, he missed a couple games. So from that was, what day was that? From March 17th to the end of the year, he had 7 goals.
Yeah, he got really
4
hot.
assists, 11 points. I mean, damn.
I mean, if you can ride the Barrie roller coaster, just remember, for every up, there's a down.
Of course, and that's the thing that you go with him. But when you get these types of ups, I mean, I'm sorry, it's kind of worth it.
Yeah,
It's hard to give him up when he's being mentioned in Norris Trophy talks, because he has been mentioned a couple times in those.
Yeah, I'm just not buying that, because, call me crazy, I think Norris Trophy should go for a guy who's better defender.
Right, but let's talk about how it is awarded.
I know.
Yeah.
I know how it is awarded, but that's the one. If you're going to trade Barrie, you have to get the same production that he offers from a forward. Point blank.
I don't care who it comes from. You have to get the same production back.
Right.
Forwards, defensemen, whatever.
Trading Barrie, you're trading him for a forward. Everything else is just a lateral move.
I mean, that's where it is. Like, I mean, I'm almost to the point now where I don't think the draft is really the time you look at it anymore, because you've still got all that free agency. I almost feel like now's the better time is to see what you manage to land in free agency, and then go towards the start of the year if you're set on trading him. And I do understand the business side of why. I get that. I totally do. I also I don't feel like he's obviously going to make more on his next contract.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is not a question. He is what, 5.5 now? 5.5. But I am also a little. I don't necessarily think that his next contract is going to be so crazy that it would be preventative. I could be wrong. We have to, of course, see what Erik Karlsson gets this summer because he's going to get all the money. But I had this up later, and then my computer reset. Like over the last 3 seasons, Barrie is 9th in the league amongst defensemen in points.
That's impressive.
Which, yeah, it's very good, and he's got some very good names around him. I'm trying to put them all up, get them all up here. Skaters, defensemen. It was up, and like I said, then my stupid computer reset. Run the report. Give me this. Oh, now it's just being stupid. I'm
not sold in any way, shape, or form. Either way, I just have very specific. If you're going to do it as. You have to get your money's worth.
Yes, absolutely.
And you're going to get best value return this summer because you're trading a guy with 1 year remaining on his contract.
Yes, this is true. This is very true. It just, I mean, well, now the NHL stats site is just not working at all. All right, well, fuck you, NHL.
Stats site.
Yeah, go.
NHL has done a real bang-up job having the worst website of the four
They
majors.
certainly have, yeah. If that was their intent.
They did a redesign and made it worse. How is that possible?
Well, when you're an organization run by Gary Bettman.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I had written a lot of this down earlier as well, so I just found that out too. So Brent Burns is currently tops in the NHL over the last 3 seasons in points, and his new contract started last season has him at $8 million a year. If Brent Burns is getting $8 million a year, and again, I know Erik Karlsson's going to ruin it for everybody. I mean, would you? I mean, I think that might be the range Tyson Barrie ends up looking at after Karlsson gets his $12 gajillion that he's going to get.
Yeah, maybe.
Victor Hedman is also at $8 million. John Carlson just did $8 million. Torrey Krug is his is $6 million, but he signed his a while ago. Roman Josi has been on his term forever, so he doesn't count. Same with John Klingberg. Keith Yandel is the next one, who's just above Barrie's at 6.3, and then Tyson Barrie is
PK Subban up there too.
Yeah, PK Subban's got a big, but not in point as far honestly in point in money. Yes, in points, no.
Right. I'm just saying for top paid defenders.
Yeah. Yeah, Subban is up there for that. So I don't know. I feel like Diaz might be able to squeeze a reasonable deal out of him.
I don't know how Joe does it, but he tends to get players kind of cheap compared to some others, if you will. Mm-hmm. So I think it would be interesting to see what kind of contract extension he could work.
I just don't know where it's gonna go.
Yeah. This is, I mean, it's going to be so weird because, of course, we got to see what's going to happen. Rantanen's going to get paid a bunch of money.
Yeah, and a pony.
And a pony.
I'm not giving it up. He's getting a pony.
Comfer should get a pretty decent raise, but it's not going to be crazy money.
No.
He'll probably
Zadorov isn't going to get crazy money.
Zadorov isn't going to get crazy money, but he's probably going to get a bit of a bump. He's only at 2.1 right now. You can see him somewhere within the 4 million-ish range. Probably 4 million is the top of that range, depending on what compromises end up working. I mean, there's a bunch of other guys that we're not going to see. Like Colin Wilson's going to be gone, I imagine. Though I could potentially live with him at a 1-year deal at like half of what he does right now. I would rather see like
Derek Brassard than Colin Wilson.
What's that?
I'd rather see Derek Brassard than Colin Wilson.
Sure.
As far as like an extension goes for a year or two.
Yeah, I'm pretty ambivalent, ready to... I wouldn't want to sign a player in... Especially since I feel like the Habs are building actual prospect depth now, to the point that I would want to give them something to fight for going into camp.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think Sven's back either.
Yeah, no, Sven, I imagine, is gone.
I don't think Bork's gone.
Oh, God. Let him be gone.
I think he's gone. I think Wilson's gone. So I think there's going to be a few openings that they can be battling for, but you don't want to open it up too much so that we just have so many in the lineup.
The ideal is to have maybe 1 or 2 openings that people are fighting for, and then the rest that way when injuries happen during the season, you actually have quality depth that is replacing them.
Yep.
Rather than, I don't know, Andrew Agozzino.
That just don't get me started. Do not get me started on fucking Andrew
I'm just
Agozzino.
saying that there are legitimately better options next year.
Mm-hmm. There were legitimately better options this year that they chose not to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's even more apparent. Martin Kaut, Shane Bowers.
Yes, very true. Very true. Yes, Shane Bowers signed his ELC.
Well, not technically. He's on an ATO right now.
He signed his ELC, which will take effect next year, and he's on an ATO with the Eagles right now.
There you go.
So that's that good stuff. I mean, I am really I'm so interested to see. I'm so interested to see how the next
Shane
season
Bowers,
of things
Nick Henry
just
joined. Cam Morrison, I feel like, is going to sign, or at least I hope he does.
They haven't signed him yet, have they?
No, they haven't,
Ugh.
and that's kind of freaking me out.
That is troubling.
It'll be interesting to see if Cale does sign or if he says, "Hey guys, I'm kind of worn out from the playoffs here."
I mean, he will sign something, whether it ends up being something that drops him into the playoffs
for like
this
this
year.
season.
Sure, yeah, but
Yeah,
it'll either be boom, come do your stuff now, or he'll go the Bowers route, which is definitely
I feel like
something.
Bednar loves his pairing so much that I don't know that he's going to upset that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if Makar will either, just because he's always, from what I've seen from him already, been the guy that's kind of paid attention to his body and has actually listened to "I need to recover" a little bit more than others I've seen. So I think that he's kind of being smarter than most about this type of stuff.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, the whoop.
Sorry,
I was going to say, you have to leave us, Callie?
Nope, not me.
That's on my end.
All right. What I will say about Makar is he has played a little bit less than half the games that every single other NHL player has played. Most other NHL players have played. So while, yes, the rigors of the Frozen Four and even things like and all of that stuff, the extended college season, that's still, 38 games? Tops? He's fresh comparatively.
Oh, yes, compared. But as far as he is concerned with himself, it's still more than he's used to.
True.
And he did, skip out on the Worlds and different things like that at different times in his career just from being exhausted or a little sore or wanting to be ready for the playoffs or whatever the case is.
Fair. True enough.
Yeah.
True enough. It's going to be very interesting to watch where the Avalanche go with things here. So, real quick, let's put a bow on the season here. What's if you were to pick kind of a low point of the season, what would you say? I think for me, one of the biggest low points of that year, and it's of course appropriate considering who the Avalanche are playing in the playoffs, was that game in Calgary where the Avalanche were up 4-1 going into the third period, and then lost 6-5 because everybody decided to be freaking stupid, but especially the goalie.
Yeah.
That was just like that got so mad. Woo! Where's the fire?
Fire alarms.
Yeah. That game was one of the ones that made my head explode. Absolutely explode. To see the team ride so high and then just stop.
Yeah.
And the goaltending just go away completely.
I think for me, the lowest point, just because I was at this game, so it was so painful to sit through the entire thing, was the 7-1 loss in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, the only person that played that entire game was Matt Calvert. My friend Leslie and I, she's the one that travels with me. Every time that we see Matt Calvert now, we're like, yeah, like Mr. Heart and Soul, because you're the only one that plays in the 7-1 loss. But that was our only bright spot that entire game. And we sat there through every freaking lightning bolt that they would cast out. I don't know if you've ever seen how they do that in Tampa.
I have not.
They have like a lightning rod, and every time they score, it like shoots lightning. It's kind of cool, but it just
appreciate
is painful.
the production value. Nice.
Yeah. So that was a really big low for me, just being there and watching us like collapse and nobody really gave a shit.
Ron?
I think he's still muted, dealing with his fire alarms.
I am still muted here.
Oh.
Be right back.
Okay. We'll come back to Aaron. In the meantime, we'll turn it and talk about positives, the big positive from the year. You want to go first on this one? Because I went first last time.
I mean, I think it's hard because we kind of touched on this in the last pod, just with trying to stay somewhat upbeat. But like just in the last few games, I'll touch on something that I really enjoyed. Our penalty kill in those last few games was so solid.
Yeah.
Let alone the penalty kill that like saved our season and our playoffs and everything else. But I feel like they actually found, like, this is going to be painful for me to say. Bork has been playing well. And he was on the penalty kill with like Comfer, Soderberg, Nieto. They were kind of all rotating through Calvert as far as forwards go. And I think there was a few times where they just like would snag that puck, and I don't know, it wasn't even threatening. Teams couldn't set up. Like, it was really, really entertaining to watch.
Nice. I'll go ahead and say watching Grubauer's turnaround was probably the biggest positive for me, because I mean his season kind of mirrored the Avs season in that he started there was some rockiness at the start, but he still he didn't lose in regulation for a long time.
Yeah.
Early on in the year, and then came those middle games that was just
horrendous.
Oh, that was bad. That was so bad. So bad. Oh, I guess he lost his first game in regulation to Columbus, but after that it was like he went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games without losing in regulation.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
It was 7-0-2 in those next 9 games. Then that middle where the bottom fell out completely, and then the dude saved the season.
Yeah.
So I mean, and he was a guy that Joe put a lot of faith in to basically be the guy of the future, and he's given us all a reason to believe that he can be that guy of the future, which is a big positive, because at this point, if you're looking at Varley, I cannot think really of any reason to keep Varley around for next year.
Not really, no.
So it's good to have a feeling that there is at least some bit of a comfort level with Grubauer going to next year, regardless of what ends up happening in the playoffs.
Yeah.
How you doing over there, Aaron?
That good.
We're doing okay. We're trying to figure out where our smoke detector keeps going off, because there's no smoke.
Oh, that's
unless I'm hotter than I thought.
That's possible.
But
Quick low point, high point?
I honestly have... Low point, I have to say, is the loss to Ottawa.
Oh, God, that was so awful.
Because that was like at the low point of the season. They lost to Winnipeg, Calgary, and Montreal. Won against Toronto, and then finished that road trip losing 5-2 to Ottawa.
Yeah, that was brutal.
And then the high point, I have to go the last game. Just the fans getting on their feet that entire third period, specifically the last 2 minutes, that was just about the highlight for me. Such great great energy in the building.
Nice. So, moving forward now, the Avs have two amazing things to be looking forward to. First, of course, is obviously the Stanley Cup playoffs. Fantastic. But second, the Avs have the best possibility at obtaining the number 1 overall pick in the draft lottery, which happens tomorrow.
So fun.
Like, this is a weird year. That sort of stuff doesn't happen. A team that both makes the playoffs and has the opportunity to win the first overall pick.
Joe Sakic's a genius.
Hell yeah. I mean, yeah.
Understatement of the day.
Understatement of the day. Now, at the same time, thanks to the new format for the NHL Draft Lottery, which I am not exactly a big fan of, the Avs also have like a 40 to 50% chance of ending up picking 4th.
Yeah.
So we, of course, know what that feels like. But at that same time, that 4th pick granted us Cale Makar.
Yeah.
So it's not...
Pretty okay with that one.
It's not too awful. It just took me
Honestly,
to the...
If they are... if they follow the 4, they get the best defenseman in the draft. Maybe again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Possible. I mean, I almost hope that the Avalanche end up 2nd overall, because that is the easiest pick in the draft.
First overall is pretty easy, too.
It is pretty easy, but at the same time, 2nd, you take whichever person the other person doesn't take. It's either Hughes or Kakao. And
or, could be an odd thing. You have to get the first pick. Vancouver gets the 2nd. And the Avs get something really nice for trading down 1 spot.
Oh, look at you with the stuff. Who you got your eyes on?
Honestly, don't know. I just thought of that in my brain mouth thingy.
Brain mouth thingy.
No filter.
I just know they have the first Hughes, and they might want to unite them as they did with the Sedins. Oh god, that's awful. But I don't know. I kind of like Bo Horvat.
Yeah.
There,
Oh man, I
there's
keep
a
running
lot
this.
of things that they could do there.
I keep running the simulator, and the Avs keep ending up fourth. I don't like it.
You need a new simulator.
I'm at tankathon.com. And I've run it like 15 times, but it just goes to show you, right? Those are where the odds are. The odds are more favorable for the Avalanche to end up with the 4th overall pick than they are to end up with the 1st.
Yeah. The Avs could get defenseman Ole Uledi, who, he's 20 years old, so he hasn't done anything yet, but he's still a really high pick.
Yeah. I will be watching with bated breath. I'm almost going to cut my rehearsal off early tomorrow so I can get back and watch the coverage of the stupid draft lottery, which you only need to be there for the last 2 minutes anyways, while they dramatically reveal envelopes and do zoom-ins on the stoic faces of those GMs.
Yeah. It would be kind of fun if we got the first just to see Sakic, smile.
I know, right? Seriously. I mean, I personally, I'm not a fan of this version of the draft lottery. It's creating drama for the sake of creating drama.
Yeah.
This whole let's rattle off the first 3 picks. Nonsense. That's nonsense. The whole idea of the drafts in all sports have been to help maintain the cyclical nature of sports. Whereas if your team is bad enough, you get the option to pick a team pick players that will make your team not bad anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like they want to discourage tanking like happened the year that McDavid was there. The McDavid draft, both Buffalo, Edmonton, and Arizona was the next year. They were actively trying to take parts off that team to get the best odds to get McDavid, which is kind of ironic that Edmonton still won the lottery.
Yeah, that was because Buffalo won it that year. Won it. By won it, I mean they were the worst team in the league that year.
Mm-hmm. Should have won it.
Honestly,
they couldn't win for losing.
I don't really mind necessarily the idea of lottoing off the top pick. I don't really mind that as much. But the top 3, that's just silly. I don't feel like there's any reason that any team that 11 through 15 should magically end up with any of the top 3 picks. That does not feel right to me.
Yeah. Dallas.
Yeah, I agree.
Dallas leapfrogging us in that year was the one thing that kind of me.
Dallas ended up with Miro Heiskanen, right? That's just
which I wanted Miro Heiskanen.
Same. So I don't know. We'll see. It still seems to me Jack Hughes is the top pick and Capo Kakao is the next one. Both fantastic players, of course, but this is just one of those where Hughes just kind of has that extra little thing, that little extra factor about him that just puts him a little bit above Kakao.
I mean, Kakao is doing Capo Kakao. We're gonna have to learn that name.
Hopefully.
Butchered.
It doesn't matter where he's going to be drafted. We're still going to need to learn that name. I mean, hopefully you get a jersey with an Avs jersey with a name on the back of it. But, in any case, I lost my track of thought.
Same. Have to learn his name anyways. Capo Kakao.
He's doing really great things in Finland. In their... I believe they're in the Liga.
Yep.
It's kind of late. But Jack Hughes is setting all-time records at the development program. So this is a case of ultimate recency bias. And who would you rather have, Johnny Gaudreau or someone else who was drafted that year?
Well, it depends on the someone else who was drafted that year.
Well, I'm
have to look it up.
that's what I'm doing right now.
Vague statement of the century. Or someone else who was drafted that year.
I mean, there aren't very.
Well, when you put it like
many
that,
players that take in the NHL over Gaudreau.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Taken 104th overall in 2011.
Oh,
Would
that
you
was
rather
so
have
funny.
Johnny Gaudreau or Duncan Siemens?
Yeah, Johnny Gaudreau.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Hindsight is 20/20.
Would you rather have Ryan Strome? Would you rather have Jamie Alexiak?
No.
Mark McNeil?
Who?
Exactly. Tyler Biggs. Joe Morrow. Matt Pumple.
Oh, then Johnny Gaudreau? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean,
There-
of course, the future is
so we don't
impossible to
let
predict.
just so we don't let size dictate this.
No,
He's the
I don't-
fourth round draft pick from that year.
I think size is less and less of an issue now,
Yeah.
because the NHL is different. This is no longer the league that the Anaheim Ducks win because they're just freaking enormous and pummeling people to death. This is the team, like, you can't do that anymore. You've got to be able to skate. You've got to be able to develop speed. You've got to be able to move. That's what the NHL is now. So, I mean, yes. I don't think that size is necessarily going to. If it is, then that GM would need to be fired for that reasoning. Well, he's not as big. Well, who the hell gives a damn? Because Hughes is still the clear number one to me. And I think it's going to be hilarious to watch and see if a team, hopefully not the Avalanche, talks themselves out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just crazy. The guy, his skating is immaculate. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, yeah, he's a little small, but you have a guy named Gabriel Landeskog who would be perfect to be his line.
Yep, and he's also 18. Even though he's 8, I mean, even though he's smaller, you still fill out. Smaller guys succeed. You were just talking about Gaudreau.
Martin St. Louis.
Yeah, Martin St. Louis. Tyler Johnson down there too?
Is that a short joke?
Maybe.
Don't appreciate the short joke.
Down there. I'm sorry, Callie. It's nothing personal.
Yeah,
See,
I'm trying to talk about the
value
value that short people have.
I had to
Stick it
have
up for
my
you.
partner on the ambulance reach up on top of the counter to get a bowl for me the
Aw.
other day.
Well, that was nice of them.
Yeah, it was really nice, but short people struggles are real.
So, yeah, we will find out where the Avalanche end up drafting. Let's talk playoffs now. Let's talk playoffs. Random sound effects, oh yeah.
I say that because I'm calling this the series a series of ice and fire.
Yes. Yes. So the Avalanche draw the Calgary Flames.
I'm going to fight Sam Bennett.
I
I'm
think you
pretty
might not
sure
be the
Gabe
only one.
Landeskog is going to greet Matt
someone
Tkachuk
will
with-
need to beat the living piss out of Sam Bennett because
Yeah.
So here's how we have Nashville versus Dallas, Winnipeg, St. Louis, Calgary, Colorado, San Jose, Vegas, Tampa Bay, Columbus, Boston, Toronto for like the 8,000th year in a row. Yay, playoff format. Washington, Carolina, and the New York Islanders versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. With the
Also
Islanders...
known as the prelude to Washington and Pittsburgh for the umpteenth time.
Oh, you think so?
Gross.
Yeah. So let's look at this. Let's look at this. We'll start. You want to focus specifically on the Avs? You want to do the whole thing?
Start with the Avs, and then I don't. Why do we care about the other ones?
I don't
There's
know.
only one series that matters.
Well, hey, the Avs will have to play somebody.
We'll cross that bridge when it comes up.
Bring the next victim.
All right, Avs Flames. How do you this is an interesting because obviously Calgary is very good.
Mm-hmm.
Calgary is very good. Calgary also does not have a lot of playoff success.
The Avs don't have great history against Calgary either this year.
This year, for sure. It's very interesting. The Avs and the Flames have never played in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
With as many of some of those good teams that were there, the Avs and Flames never crossed paths in the playoffs.
It's because they had a straight 1-8 format, and the Flames were usually. I hate this format.
It's so stupid. I hate this format too. Calgary, you'd have to argue has the overall team the overall team completeness advantage. I would say.
Definitely.
Yep.
The Avs might have is in goal.
Yes. Definitely defensively, Calgary's got the Avs. I feel like the Avs forwards can potentially match Calgary's forwards, but they've got their work cut out for them.
Here's what I think the Avs should do, specifically for the road games. They should don't break up the top line. So you have one line that has McKinnon, one line that has Landeskog, one line that has Rantanen. Make Calgary decide which defensive pairings get which player.
I think that's
that way
wise.
they can't load up Giordano against the top line.
I think that's wise. I think that's very wise.
And
They
then
did have Miko practicing with Soderberg and Nieto today.
And honestly, when when a lot of this started turning around was when that exact thing happened. When McKinnon, Landeskog, and Rantanen were all placed on separate lines.
And honestly, when you come back home and you have the last change, throw them back together, or at least for a couple of shifts.
If you need the extra powerhouse.
When you get one of those icing situations where they've been scrambling for a bit, one of your other lines has been getting some good pressure, and they ice the puck. Then suddenly out comes McKinnon, Landeskog, and Rantanen.
Yep.
Against the tired group. That, yeah, absolutely.
Bring us Cerebus. Good God. The top six for Calgary is insane for their defense.
Yeah.
Giordano, Hanifin, Brody, Hamonic, Stone. I guess then they cap friendly lists 6 different guys here who could be on their bottom pair.
Yeah,
that's just insane.
They're a damn good team. They are a damn good team. The Avs for certain have their work cut out for them. And the big thing that the Avalanche did again, the big problem the Avalanche had against the Flames this year was that they for the first 2 games their first 2 games there were stretches where they made Calgary look completely and totally inferior.
Yeah, foolish.
They were faster, hungrier, stronger, everything.
They are the
Do it
6
for a whole game.
But exactly. Then they would stop. The first game, they stopped after the first period. Varley had an excellent game that game, and just couldn't keep that second goal out. The second game they played was that one that I said is the low point, where they were all over him, and then Varley stopped remembering how to stop a puck, and the rest of the team stopped remembering how to skate. Then the third game was the first one of that frustrating Canadian road trip where the Avs outplayed Calgary but lost because the goaltending was so bad.
Mm-hmm. I feel like Varlamov was so susceptible to melting down against them specifically.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like, ugh. Just not good. Just not good. Wow, Matthew Tkachuk had a hell of a season. I didn't realize how big of a season he had. Whoa.
Yeah.
34 goals for Matthew Tkachuk. What a dick. I mean, this is a really good team. This is a really, really good team. They didn't win the West for nothing.
Yeah, it's a tough play.
The big thing that's going to be the question mark is going to be in goal. Because they pretty much split the season between Riddick and Smith. And neither of them were particularly impressive. Riddick was...
Down the stretch especially, they weren't impressive.
I mean, for the season, Riddick is 2.61 goals against average with a .911 save percentage. That is average as average gets.
And
it's not bad. It's not great. What's that?
And I feel like the Avs can swarm them and put a little bit of doubt into which goaltender they should play. And if they get there, they can take the series.
Yes. And then Smith is 2.73 goals against with sub 900 save percentage. Definitely not your average thing. So Calgary's been winning by scoring. And score they
Gruby
can.
Needs to play out of his mind.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have to. And the defense is going to have to remain engaged 100% of the time. You cannot take anything off against Calgary because they just swarm. This is going to be a very entertaining series because this is two teams that can skate your ass off. Just crazy skating ability in this series, and hopefully the Avalanche will be able to stick. Will be able to stick with it and keep that intensity going. I feel like there could be a worse matchup for the Avalanche than a team that is like Calgary that also likes to skate. That there's going to be space.
All the other matchups in the Central, the other available matchups that the Avs could have, wouldn't have wanted them, except for Winnipeg. Winnipeg, the Avs could have.
Oh yeah, God, I want to play Winnipeg because man, the Avs did great against Winnipeg this year.
Yeah, well, those games are just entertaining.
Yeah,
I can enjoy Winnipeg and hate them at the same time, and that's what I want.
That's what my appreciation tweet about Justin Bufflin was, but so many people just hated it. I got some serious
he's
shade.
an easy guy to kind of not like. He's very douchey, but he's one of those you hate him if he's not on your team, and you absolutely love him if he's on your team.
Right, and that's what I said, and so many people just bit my head off for it, and I was like, damn, okay.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
What's that?
Bufflin knows what he's doing.
Yo, absolutely he knows what he's doing.
And frankly, he goes about it in a better way than PK Subban did.
Yeah.
So, at least Bufflin's not going to shy away if you're going to come after him.
Oh, I know.
Well, the thing that I was telling people was, why wouldn't you want Bufflin on your team if he's going to fight someone like PK Subban, or if Subban won't fight him, then he's at least going to run him through the ringer, play in and play out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want that guy?
PK Subban would never go near his corner.
And
Never.
when there's a scrum,
But
in front
that's
of the
so
net,
effective.
if Bufflin gets involved, the scrum ends.
Yeah,
So effective.
absolutely. It was so funny last year watching Bufflin going into the scrums and pulling out multiple players at the same time.
It's like your mom.
I was like, oh my God.
And you're like, oh God, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Both children by the ear. I'm sorry. Ow, ow, ow. You're absolutely
You're right, I'm sorry, I was wrong.
I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry.
But back to Calgary, 7 games Calgary wins. So if the Avs are going to win this, they have to do it in 6. Which means they have to take at least one road game.
I think the Avalanche have the potential to jump in, and I think they can steal game 1. They've been in this
enough.
They've been in this mode for so long of we've got to win. It's not going to take them a lot to dial up the intensity. They're already there.
The
Calgary,
game against Winnipeg was already a playoff game.
Yeah.
It had the same intensity. It had the same teams were both sides were interfering the crap out of the other. And I enjoyed the hell out of it. There's just something different about playoff hockey. Playoffs in other sports don't change the same way playoffs in hockey change.
Well, the rules change.
Right.
Completely. Which, say what you want. It drives me a little crazy, honestly.
Changes.
As long as they call it evenly for both teams in the game, it's fine.
Yeah.
If it's not called evenly for both teams in the game, it drives me up a wall.
Yeah.
Yep. Consistency.
Exactly.
Consistency and don't insert yourself in the game.
You want consistency from NHL refs?
It's a big ask.
Call the same thing for both teams.
I'm very not
just in game.
Convinced.
You can call it differently for the next game you do, but in this particular game now that
even
you're
that,
riffing,
even that doesn't happen in the
baby
NHL.
steps.
Like rarely, if ever.
I mean, at least they're not doing anything arbitrary like baseball does, with strikes and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's come back to the series.
Well, and I'm just saying, as part of I don't love NHL refereeing, but you could be the NBA and wonder if they're in on the take.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not super convinced that the NBA refs are worse than the NHL refs, honestly. I'm really, really not. Just because, at least in the NBA, if you're going to sneeze on somebody, you're going to get called.
Depends on who you sneeze on.
Right. If you sneeze near LeBron, you're good. You're called. You're toast.
Mm-hmm.
You sneeze near anybody that's a star. Boom. The flopping in the NBA is absurd. Anywho. Interesting matchup here. Special teams, the Avalanche have 22% power play coming into the playoffs. Calgary is at 19.27. So the Avs have a slight advantage as far as that is concerned. Though, of course, the Avs power play tends to fluctuate violently in their effectiveness.
It's all about how they can get set up in the zone. Once they're set up, they're actually pretty good.
Usually, but even then, sometimes they get too reliant on forcing one particular play. A lot of the time, it's either bury one-timer, McKinnon one-timer, or force a pass and it's out. And when they force themselves into that type of situation, it's just never good. When they are not predictable and when they are using the whole of the zone and not allowing the penalty killers to therefore be aggressive, then you get much more. There's much more space. There's much more possibilities. Calgary's. Every time I watch Calgary on the power play against the Avalanche, I'm terrified because they have that. They're not predictable at all.
Gaudreau is... If he wasn't going against my team, I would marvel at him. Instead, he's going against my team, and so I'm just terrified.
Yeah, it's scary. He's just so freaking good.
He's like if you had Patrick Kane and took away the creepiness.
Patrick Kane, but
like,
less rapey.
Yeah. You know, Patrick Kane, not a predator. That's Gaudreau.
Gaudreau's just so like tiny and little and innocent.
Now those BC boys, Boston College, I tell you. Both teams are below 80% on the penalty kill. Calgary is at 79.67% on the PK. The Avs are 78.68 on the PK, though, of course, as Callie mentioned, the Avs penalty kill has done much better in the past 10 games closing out the season here. That was one of the bigger reasons why they were able to clinch a playoff spot. I mean, it's by the numbers, the Avs technically have a power play advantage. I'm not so sure that they do. I feel like if both power plays are using the things their best things to their abilities, to their advantage, then you could get 100 power play goals scored by both teams in this particular series.
I feel like this series could be really high scoring.
Yeah, I think it could be. Either of that, it's going to be... I think it's either going to be super high scoring or like both goalies are just going to have it on lockdown.
Well, it's going to come down to goaltending, but I think it's going to come down in the way of which goaltender can make that key save, even though their numbers look like shit. Like, oh, you stopped 5 goals. You stopped the 5th goal from going in, so you won 5-4.
There you go.
Yeah.
So who takes it?
Groovy.
Like, predict the series.
The way the goaltending is happening right now, I think the Avs have a strong chance at this, as long as that holds. If Groovy gets inconsistent again, then the Avs don't have much of a shot. But you know, and of course it's just it's tough. It's tough. There's my heart. My heart and my head are going different ways. I think this is going to be a longer series than people give it credit for. I think the Avs will get one early in Calgary, and then I think Calgary will get one back in Denver. I think it goes 7. And if it goes 7, I'm kind of with you, Aaron. I think Calgary takes it in 7.
Callie?
Yeah, just the Avs tend not to do very well in Calgary, so I definitely get your guys' 6 versus 7 feeling, and Game 7 at home is always such a big advantage for someone like, I don't know, really anyone
for anyone
in the playoffs,
yeah.
But especially like in Canada. So 6 Avs, 7 Flames. Depends how it shakes out.
I have the Flames winning in 6.
You hear that, Avs? We've told you don't have a shot.
Yeah. You know what's really gonna suck? Kerf.
Yes, it's going to be awful. Tyson Barrie is going to have his feet fall off.
JT's gonna go blind.
Yes, he's going. His hair color will change from red to brown.
The symptoms of concussion is blindness. Don't tempt that.
What's that?
Kurt Comfer is playing against Sam Bennett.
Oh.
So I will stab him.
Let's avoid talking about any bodily injury that comes to him.
Fair enough. I'll just say
stab Sam Bennett.
His hair color will change from red to brown, so he will no longer be a ginger.
And I will stab you if that happens. And then I would have to buy another jersey Like, come on.
Sorry.
Don't put that on me.
You can just get the nameplate replaced, right? I'm sure someone can do that.
Yeah, except he put from the ginger
That's true.
on 2 jerseys.
It was
actually,
true at the time, and that's all that matters.
As I cry myself to sleep every night.
Now, honestly, this is going to be an exciting series to watch. Like I said, these two teams love to skate, love the speed, love to show the skill. Man, this has the potential to be one of, if not the most exciting series in the first round of the playoffs. Lots of other things. The only other, Washington and Carolina should be pretty exciting to watch as well.
What are these, jerks or something?
Yeah, seriously, such jerks. Don Cherry can kiss my ass.
Yeah, the guy that has the most ridiculous suits.
I know, right?
People
all of these people
jerks.
calling attention to themselves, says the man wearing that suit.
I was going to say, you wear that suit and you wonder about people wanting attention.
Yeah. But look at the West. The other series Nashville, Dallas. That should be nice, but that should be a good series. But I don't think that's going to be the same type of high octane that the Avs and the Flames will be able to play with. Winnipeg, St. Louis. That's obviously not in that same category either.
I feel like Dallas and Nashville is the one I'm signing up for most of all. I love the idea of Dallas taking down Nashville.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
San Jose, Vegas. Again, same thing. That's not going to. That's not Vegas is the fast team there. San Jose's not bad, but I don't know that they can keep up with Vegas.
Well, I'm worried about San Jose's goaltending.
Yeah.
Which is really pissing me off because I do want my West Side Story Western Conference Final.
Where.
I want my West Side Story Final. I got my
too.
Game of Thrones one, the Avs and the Flames.
There you go.
Other ones I want are Sharknado. The Sharks and the Hurricanes.
Yeah. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Tampa and Columbus should be fun to watch, but again, Tampa, I think, should pretty much.
I have Tampa sweeping that series.
Handle that one pretty
End it quickly.
Yeah, pretty. Boston and Toronto. That's just that's again. Those are good teams, but we've seen it forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Like I said, Washington, Carolina. That should be exciting hockey.
By the way, my upset of the tournament, I have Boston upsetting Tampa.
Ooh.
I feel like when you relax some of the penalty requirements, Tampa Bay is not going to get the same kind of power plays, and Boston does really well slowing down other teams. And I don't know that Tampa Bay's truly ready for the amount of physical play that Boston will throw their way. Then again, they could just lose to Toronto and make this whole thing shit.
Yeah.
And then the Isles and the Penguins. That should be another interesting series to watch.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to get another Penguins-Washington series.
For like the gajillionth year in a row.
Those.
Oh my god!
I didn't say I liked it. I just said
How many years in a row would that be?
Too many.
So many.
Enough.
This would be 5 years in a row, wouldn't it?
Probably.
In the second round. God, give me a break. Change the playoff format. Put it back to 1 through 8. I don't know why you did this, NHL.
Dum-dums.
Hate you. Anyway. So it seems that we all agree that Calgary is going to be probably most likely taking this one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. I think that there are ways the Avs can win this series.
The comments of Bednar today got me kind of fired up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're coming to win this.
Yeah. No,
And getting Mikko back is
getting Mikko back is
fabulous.
big. The Avs are. The Avs are probably one of the teams that not a lot of teams are excited to see in the playoffs because they have been so hot.
As opposed to last year when they backed into the playoffs, they lost Varlamov, they lost Eric Johnson.
Yep.
Yeah.
Instead of going in banged up, they're going in getting healthy.
They're going in fully healthy. I mean, the only player who's hurt is Ladislav Kamenev, but that's like a yearly tradition.
Well, Tyson Jost has a broken finger.
Really?
Yeah.
He's handling it like a champ.
He's been playing with a broken finger for a while.
Yeah.
Well, he's still playing. There's a difference between hurt and injured.
I'd say a broken finger is pretty bad, but anyways, I'm not a hockey player.
If you're still playing, you're just hurt.
Yeah,
you're
fair
just
enough.
injured.
Fair enough. What's your Stanley Cup final?
I have Boston versus Winnipeg.
Callie?
I had the Sharks versus Tampa.
Ooh, Sharks versus Tampa, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I think I've got to have to go with Tampa and Winnipeg. That would be. I think Tampa and Winnipeg is where I'm going. That'll be a fun series to watch.
Yeah, I have Winnipeg winning the cup.
That'd be cool. Division rivals, whatever. That'd be cool. For a city that, lost a team and then had to, oh God, they had to go through a lot to get that team back. Then they got the Thrashers, and they turned that team into a winner.
Could you imagine in the future if Quebec got a team and there was a final of the Avs versus Quebec?
That would be fun. Quebec should get a team.
Especially if it's Ottawa that moves to Quebec.
That would be hilarious. So you're talking like 2035.
It depends on who the owner to the Nordiques would be. It can't be Melnyk.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, I don't know. That'd have to be like he'd sell the team and someone in Ottawa would buy it, or Quebec rather. I mean, they've got the arena. I don't know why they're not going there. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
I mean, it makes sense to go into Seattle, but come on. How can you not go to Quebec City?
Just keep breaking their hearts, man.
Well, we can't have two teams in the same province, but
team to move.
Does what?
I honestly feel like Florida is the perfect team to move.
They would be. They would absolutely be the perfect team to move.
Yeah, there's no fans at their games.
They draw a fan every game, and
it's usually a visiting fan.
Yeah, it's a beautiful arena. I was there for that for the Rantanen draft. Beautiful arena, and it would be a shame because that is a really nice arena. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no one's there. That's probably the fullest that arena's been in the last 8 years.
I mean, Miami in general just doesn't, unless you're the Heat or for some reason the Dolphins, they don't give two shits about their sports.
Mm-mm.
It's a little farther north than Miami now. They're not in Miami anymore.
They're in Sunrise, Florida.
That's right, Sunrise.
Close to Fort Lauderdale.
Yes, I stayed in Fort Lauderdale when I was there.
Oh, well.
But still, Fort Lauderdale, really?
That should show how much attention I pay to that club, which means move it.
Which is about as much attention as their own fans pay to that club. So,
honestly, when we were there this year, we couldn't find like a hotel in Sunrise, Florida, so we had to stay in Fort Lauderdale because there was like nothing.
Yeah, I think the arena is Sunrise.
Yeah, probably.
Which
maybe like the block around it.
The only place I have ever heard the phrase, "Hey, we have to go inside to get some fresh air," was Fort Lauderdale Sunrise /Sunrise, Florida, for the draft. Because God, the humidity is terrible out there. I don't know how you Floridians do that. I do not know how you do that because man, that was miserable.
Yeah, couldn't do it.
I think in about 2 weeks we're going to reconvene and have the Avs prove us wrong all over again.
Indeed. Avs, you have no chance at all, just like when you had no chance to make the playoffs.
And no chance to win the lottery.
No chance to win the lottery, no chance to win the series, no chance for happiness of any kind.
We don't have any chance at free agents this offseason.
Nope.
We have no chance at anything.
Nothing.
Well, that's fine. So I'm just going to... Screw you guys, I'm going home.
Right on. Well, thanks for sticking around with us as we rambled on for almost an hour and a half. I appreciate that, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Burgundy Brigade podcast. Check out the Draft Lottery Tuesday so we can see the Avalanche totally not at all win it. And then we're excited to see the playoff push here. Hope the Avs can make a fun series. This should be a very fun series with the Flames. And, yeah. Callie, Aaron, thanks for stopping by on a late Monday night. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Of course. We will talk to you all later.
Everybody.
Bye, everybody. Bye, Dr. Nick. And we will talk to you later. Go Avs, go. Thursday is game 1. We'll talk to you later.